Welcome everybody to another Voice of Nick show. We're doing more of our artwork for Posthomerica, and let's see if we can add a shield to Penthesileia's horse here. So we're gonna put this on a layer above the other stuff, not that it really matters because it's all just outlines at the moment. But I figure the shield is gonna go somewhere here, and the best way I think to do that is gonna be to draw a circle first, which again, it's very annoying that we can't draw an exact circle on this app, but let's make something like this. It'll be perfectly facing the camera, so that makes it kind of easy in its way. Now we sort of want to come up with a spot where it would be sitting. It'd almost be interesting if the shield was over her foot in some kind of way that would, you know, create extra armor for her. But I don't think that's gonna work. I kind of wanted to extend past the edges of the horse in some direction, like it can't go there. It would have to be on the back. Maybe like that. And then we're gonna make a circle out of this, and we'll just come up with some design for her shield. Great. Now, before we draw anything nicely, we're just gonna make a rough concept design for what's in the shield. So Penthesileia is the daughter of Ares, and maybe it'll be cool to have like a what would even be like the symbolism of Ares? Ares god's symbols: the sword, the spear, the shield, the helmet, and the chariot. Okay. I guess that makes sense. So maybe it could be something like a, let's put this away, something like, the only problem is this might end up looking like it is a helmet sitting on her horse. But we'll see how that plays out when we get to that. So this is not the way we want that. It's supposed to go like this. And let's add to this. That's looking pretty cool. And I figure that there could be like a sword somehow integrated into this. Like if it was like a skull and crossbones thing, it would work, but that's too like, it's kind of like, I don't know, kitschy. Like, it's too cutesy of a thing, because it's not something they would have done in Greek artwork. Although maybe neither is this, I don't know. Even if it's not something they would have done, though, we just want to avoid things that are like too much of a, you know, like a overdone or whatever, too expected. Screw it, let's see how it looks. Kind of does look pretty cool. Maybe we'll give her a, what does a halberd look like? Penthesilea is she carries a big spears and a massive halberd. Maybe it could be a sword crossed with a halberd. Okay, it's like that. It's pretty cool. Okay. So that's our concept for the shield, I guess. And then we'll do something for the bow and arrow, if we can. I was gonna have the bow and arrow kind of overlapping, not overlapping her foot, but maybe overlapping with the shield, like sitting like that. But if there's just a design on the shield, it's not really gonna work because it'll just look like really cluttered. Should we put like some packs or something on the horse? No, because it's not for travel, it's just for fighting. Something like this. And first of all, the shield, I guess, would have some kind of like mounting device. So maybe it's like some kind of strap system. Definitely not that. So the bow and arrow would probably have something like that as well. How would you... I guess you'd put a bow and arrow like this in case you wanted to grab it. Although that doesn't really make any sense. It looks cool, that's what matters. We're just gonna do whatever looks best. Wouldn't be up here. I think it would probably be right around here on the like horse's front section, and then there would be a quiver of arrows as well, I guess. Yeah, I guess I like that. We're getting in the territory of like over detail is this bow and arrow actually going to contribute to the value of the picture as a composition? Or is it just another thing we're putting in? I think the shield does add to it. I think it's really cool looking, and it kind of does something with that space that we didn't have before. I don't think the bow and arrow really helps. Good, so okay, we'll just do the shield. So we're going to take our guide layer for this circle, and we're just going to make it smaller so that we can now draw another circle. Yeah, it's better to do this than to try and freehand a circle for your final line art, because it's just, we're still doing it ourselves. We're not using a tool to make the circle, but we're using a tool to trace an existing circle. So it's kind of the equivalent of if you used one of those compass things to make a circle on a page. You know, you're not making that circle with a compass, but you are, you know, still doing it yourself, even though you're using a tool. Alright, so maybe let's do the sword and the halberd on separate layers from the helmet, just so that in case we want to move them around, we can. Let's make it a more rounded sword edge. We're going to stylize this sword a little bit so that it's not going to be as long as a regular sword. I guess it's a broadsword because it's got a really thick thing on it. And we're not going to put any details like a grip on the handle or anything, which hopefully that will communicate the idea that it's not actually a sword that's sitting here, but rather a design of a sword on her shield. But who knows? It doesn't really matter. If somebody confuses it for being an actual sword, it still works. Oh wait, where did that halberd picture go? I think I didn't save it. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just gonna grab that halberd so that I have it in my reference file. Okay. Now, don't really know that much about halberds. I do think they're really cool looking. I've never drawn one before. So we're definitely going to rely on this reference. And we're getting at such a small scale now that we can't even really add any details. You can see it's not even really putting the lines in where we want them. But again, that's important. We don't want to over detail it. So we're not going to make our brush any smaller than it is. So this is too long over here. Let's maybe make it thin. Great. Let's make sure it doesn't hit the edge really. And then we'll do the helmet. We've drawn a million helmets at this point, so I assume this won't be a problem for us. Actually, let's make the helmet not black in the eye, which hopefully will also communicate that it is not a real helmet, but instead a picture of a helmet engraved on the shield. Okay. Good. So we want to move it so that the halberd is following the line of the helmet. We don't really like that because it's gonna, it'll kind of take away from the design. So we're gonna try and change that. Also, I want to move this. Let's just grab it with the picker tool, I guess, because this is too high up on the helmet, the eyeball. You need to have a forehead in there. Okay. And let's kind of round this out a little better. Good. Now, And this will be the same thing where we don't detail any of the hair or like the special traits of the helmet, and hopefully that'll communicate that it's not a helmet, but rather a helmet engraving. So we'll lose that stuff. This is looking good. Now let's screw around. Maybe we can have these things be a little bit lower, like almost underneath here. We'll probably have to change the line weight, just add to that halberd if we're gonna do that. Or it could be like this, I guess. All right, we're back. That's my alarm going off. Every day at South by Southwest Festival, you have to, well, you don't have to, but if you want to make it to some of the movie screenings, you can like get a sort of like a fast pass if you're at Disney or Universal theme parks. They have this thing where you can get into like the priority line, and you get 2 every day that you can do. So you can't just do it for every movie you see, but you can reserve those at 9 a.m. each day in Austin time. So I set an alarm. Me and everybody that we're with are like ready to get our things when it happens. So I'm gonna have to close the stream out in a second. This is better, I think. This look. It's a little strange that the halberd is like similarly sized to the sword, because the halberd would be like at least like 5 times as long. Well, maybe like 2 to 3 times as long as most swords. But you know, it's not really a halberd. It's a picture of a halberd. So now, let's, how do we want to do this? Let's take these 3, just in case we ever want to change this again. So let's duplicate them, and we will merge them. So we're essentially just making a rasterized version of this artwork, and we're just going to put these other 3 in a group and turn that group off. That's like our original, if we ever want to go back to it. And what we can do by doing that is easily erase the elements without having to go into each layer and do it. And now, which do we want to be above the other? Maybe the sword is above the halberd in some weird way of saying like the halberd is farther away, so it's smaller, but it's not. That would never really work that way, because how much farther away can it be? You know, if it's sitting in a design. Yeah, or we could always just do a second sword. But okay, so we have that, and now that's our design for the shield. And we can probably just have this be in its own thing. So let's group all these layers, and we'll probably put a background color for the shield specifically, rather than like cutting out pieces of the horse. Yeah, I still am not happy looking at Penthesileia's hair. I'm probably gonna change that to something else. We might give up on the big flowing look. Okay, now that's gonna do it, ladies and gents. Thanks for joining the show.